I wish Excel had a quick, easy, simple way of making a Gantt chart. This Nutility helps with that. You can find a quick description of it under the Nutilities menu, Charts, Gantt. So let's take a look at what this actually does. Given an input of something like this, it'll spit out a Gantt chart for you that looks like this. And I'll walk through that with you in a minute, but let's just take a look at what gets output. You end up with a chart that gives you all your task names. So I have those here, starting with like scoping a project and working your way through to delivering to the customer. The start date of each task, how many days there are to go, how many days have been completed, and those have been graphed here. To go days, completed days. So you can see the blue is the completed and the gray is to go, and the total sum of these two is the amount of days. So like this starts on the 14th, has 7 days. You can see here, starts on the 14th and it goes out about 7 days. So let me show you how I actually made that chart. I'm going to go ahead and delete this chart. To make the chart, you simply have to highlight 4 columns wide by 2 columns high, or by 2 rows high. So it expects you to have the header row included. So let's just see what happens if I put the wrong amount of things. I'm going to hit Control-Shift-Alt-J to do this. And right away it's like, to make a Gantt chart, you must have it exactly 4 cells wide by 2 cells high. And you can see that I only selected 2 cells wide, so it's like, error. Let's try again. So I'm going to do 4 cells wide by 2 high, and I'm going to include a header row like I have here. Hit Control-Shift-Alt-J, and out comes my chart. Now you might have noticed that I only highlighted the first 2 rows like this, and yet the chart picked up the whole amount of things. That's because it uses dynamic named ranges for each of these items on the chart. You can see your dynamic name ranges by going to Formulas, Name Manager, and in here you can see that it actually created a bunch of them. So right now there's actually 12 name ranges in here, and that's because if you look at this one through this one, you can see these all relate to chart 1-1, chart 1-2, and so forth. So this is all for chart 1, and chart 1 was actually the chart I deleted. So in theory, I could just delete all of these right now because they were for that chart that I deleted already. So having deleted those, that should not affect the current chart at all. And the current chart is chart 2, and you can see it's got chart 2-1 through 2-6. So these are all the series I need for the current chart. And like I told you, it uses a dynamic name range. So if you look at the formulas of these, it's actually got this formula here, which is a dynamic name range. All this expects is that under the task name, you don't have any blanks. And by not having any blanks, it'll know exactly how far down the series should go in order to capture everything. So let's take a look at that. Let's say we wanted to add another task to this already created chart. We could simply say, I don't know, call it more stuff. And then you can see more stuff just popped up. And then let's say we want this task to start right at the end of the last task. So I'm just going to say this date above plus however many days there are to go and however many days there are to complete. So it's going to be March 30th, which is exactly 14 days from March 16th. And so that's going to give me the start point of it. So the start point will be right here at the end of the last task. Now I want to say how many days there are to go and how many days there are completed. Well, since this starts at the end of the last task, there can't be any days completed. So completed is going to be 0. And how many days to go? Let's say this task actually takes 5 days. If you look, we now have a task starting right at the end of deliver to customer, and it's going out about 5 days, or exactly 5 days. Now let's say you didn't actually want this to happen at the end of this task. Let's say you wanted it to happen more concurrently. We could actually say that this thing actually kicks off, I don't know, on the 27th of March. If I put in 27 there and have it going out 5 days, you can see it's actually moved back on the chart, and now it's actually going concurrently with deliver to customer. At any time when you want to come through here and update the completed amounts, it's very easy. You can go through and just say, so let's do scoping, for instance. On scoping, right now we have it set with 2 days to go, 5 days completed. So that's a total of 7 days. Let's say we want to set that we're doing a status on this and it actually only has 1 day to go. We put 1 there, and that means 6 days were completed to keep it to 7. And you can see now the blue area has increased just a little bit. Or we could say that there's no days to go and 7 days completed, and now it's a complete blue bar. You could put formulas throughout this thing to make it easier to status, but on a very simple level, you just go ahead and type in the values you want and make sure to update both values to keep your total the same, unless for some reason you're extending the total days for a task, which happens sometimes. There is schedule slip.